He's angry about mortgages. It's Angry Mortgage. He's swearing. He's cursing loud. He's old. He's opinionated. And he's been doing this so damn long. This program is about mortgages, and this is mortgage advice, but the advice may not apply to your situation. Contact licensed mortgage professionals for specific recommendations before you make decisions about mortgages. You may not agree with Ron, but if you don't, he thinks you're wrong. Oh, and did we say there is a lot of swearing?
We are back.
We're back.
This is a big story podcast. Big story. We are tomorrow. Bank of Canada announcement. And by the way, we're going to have a special YouTube segment, 5-minute segment on YouTube tomorrow, Wednesday, on the day of the announcement. A special YouTube featuring the Tiff Macklin Muppet.
Tiffy's back.
Tiffy's back. Tiffy will actually come from Ottawa and give the announcement here in the studio by Puppet, by the Muppet. We'll make the announcement, and he will announce it, and I will comment to Tiffy, and then I will kick him out. Okay, that's it. But that's happening, folks. Tomorrow, tune in. First thing in the morning. As soon as the announcement happens, boom, you're gonna see it. Ron and Tiff together again.
Reunited at last.
Reunited, baby. Ron and Tiff reunited. Can you believe it? All right. The big story, obviously, is the Bank of Canada.
Yeah.
Sure. Big story is Bank of Canada. So let's get into it right away. It's really important, I think, that we just quit all the talk. The talk about will there be a cut? Won't there be a cut? Will there be a hike? Do rates need to go up? Boom. All got to stop. It's over. The cuts are here. May not be tomorrow. I think there's only a 50% chance of tomorrow. No more. We got some people saying there's an 80% chance. We got like a poll after, because there was one crappy Canadian GDP report this morning on Friday morning.
Yeah.
Okay. On Friday morning, that was a terrible report. We tape on Fridays, by the way. But there was a lousy report. I'll get into the details in a minute. All the banks reported. That was ugly, pretty ugly. I'll make a report on that. I'll give a report on that in a minute. But everybody out there, all you viewers, all you listeners, let's just get this the fuck over with, okay? The cuts are here. Now, that might not be tomorrow. Might not be Wednesday. 50-50, coin flip, that's it. But if it ain't tomorrow, it's July or September, but the cuts are coming. The cuts are starting, period. That's it.
The signs are there.
We've all got to stop talking about, when, or not if. We can talk when, but it's possible tomorrow the when will be over.
Yeah.
And we just got to all understand we are entering a new phase. We are entering the phase of a shitty economy in Canada.
Yeah.
And the phase of rates coming down.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about when or anymore. We're not going to talk about rates going up. We're not going to talk about any of it. It's just how many, how long, and when do they stop. Sometimes refer to that as the terminal rate, the rate at which the bank stops cutting and says, we're here for the time being, we're done.
Yeah.
We're here now. Okay. Now, I know that's a disappointment to some people, some of the listeners, some of the audience, some of the people who watch. You know, there's some diehard people who think that, fuck it, rates need to go to 10. Okay. There's not many people like that, but there's a few people, you know, they have an idea, they have ideas in their mind, and they're entitled to their opinions. Okay. And, you know, everybody who suffers through the extremely high prices of houses in most of Canada, who wishes houses prices would drop significantly, those people often vote for, hey, keep the rates high. because the higher the rates are, sooner people get in trouble, sooner people have to start to sell, and the sooner the prices come down. Okay. Yes, people, I understand this idea. Like, I really, really do. Okay?
But does a rate drop necessarily mean prices will come down?
No, rate hike does. Like, people are sad about the drop.
Oh, right. They want the hike.
They want 8%. That's what they want. They want the Bank of Canada at 8%.
People who are sitting comfy at home with mortgage free.
Well, the people there's two groups. There's people who are comfy at home with mortgage free who say, well, if the Bank of Canada goes to 8%, my GIC goes to 10 here. It's going to be great. Okay, so, or, there's those people. But there's a group of people and who just feel cheated by the batshit crazy house prices in Canada. By the way, like, I've been talking about batshit crazy house prices for 7 years. So, like, I'm one of the originals.
There's actually a mug in the office that says batshit crazy house prices.
It's an old mug.
And it's signed Ron Butler. So, yeah, I do believe that's definitely your catchphrase.
Yeah, I got the T-shirt, the coffee cup, the whole shittery. Okay, I've been talking about batshit crazy house prices forever. They've been too high forever, for a long, long time. Okay, obviously ridiculously crazy since 2021, but too high for too long. But for those people who wanted to see house prices crash, the news of cuts is not great to them because people believe that will stimulate. Now, you just asked a good question. Will it? Will it actually? Will it actually? Will these rate cuts suddenly juice the housing market? That's a good question. There's a lot of analysis goes into that. Let's talk about what's been going wrong first, though. That is definitely something I want to talk about. But let's talk about what's gone wrong first. We had this terrible GDP print, which is gross domestic product. It's like the output of the country. Now, it's 1.7. If you say, well, it's not negative, but here's the problem. By the end of this year, Canada will have brought in probably a little bit over 3 million people in 3 years.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Okay.
So of course, our GDP is not going to be in the negatives.
No. So that forces if you add 3 million people to a country in 3 years, the things just go up by themselves. Like there's just 3 million more people eating food, traveling, transportation,
getting to and from work.
You name it. Okay. Using stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So they buy stuff. They got no choice. There's 3 million new people buying stuff and earning wages. Okay. So like, yes, of course, GDP goes up because of that huge population increase. Okay. But individual GDP is approaching the absolute shitter. Okay, like it. I saw a great graph just like yesterday. If you graph out 10 years of individual, so that's the GDP divided by the people, by the numbers of people. Okay. If you graph that out over 10 years, nothing fucking happened. We're at dead zero because it was going up very, very slowly. For the first 8 years, tiny slowly, like not good at all, okay? And for now, it's going to be almost 2 full years. Individual GDP is going backwards.
Yeah, that I feel like everyone feels that. Because I personally, I've been in the workforce for over 10 years, and I still feel like I'm that kid working in retail, like barely making ends meet, especially with how expensive rent is, how expensive groceries are, food, cars, like it's not easy.
So even though you've made genuine wage enhancement in the last 10 years,
I'm still in the same kind of boat.
Feel no better off at all.
I'm in a different tax bracket for fuck's sakes.
Yeah,
and I'm still like, oh, I gotta be eerie of my purchases. I'm not just gonna, go crazy.
So you don't feel any genuine progress in 10 years.
No, and that's pretty sad because in the past 10 years, I went from working retail, graduating school twice, working in a career, and then now I'm just like, well, things aren't that much better,
Not better enough.
Not better enough to justify the amount of time and effort I put into educating myself.
Well, I think that really illustrates the problem in Canada perfectly, in fact. Okay, that sure, some boomers may be thinking things are okay, but for just about every other age grouping, not so much. Because when you don't have robust, by the way, I'm not talking about 6%, like that's ridiculous, but if you don't have like adequate at least keeping up and exceeding inflation, individual GDP growth, I don't know whether anybody's happy. I don't think anybody's happy at all.
No.
Okay? Like a handful, obviously, the top 2% should always be pretty fucking happy. Top 2% income earners, they should be pleased as fucking punch. But for a lot of people, no. So yes, we've had that experience. Now we've had all the bank earnings reports in the last week. I think they're all finished now. They are all increasing their provisions for bad loans.
Oh shit.
So they've got to when they study their way arrears are going on their loans, and they think, okay, getting better, getting worse. Oh, literally all getting worse on the arrears. I'm not just talking mortgage arrears here. I'm talking everything. I'm talking
line of credits, personal loans,
car loans,
all that jazz.
Business, you name it. Okay, all incrementally going up. And therefore, they have to reserve, because that's how they manage risk. They have to reserve more and more money to say, I think this loan's going to go bad, and we're going to have that money set aside to cover the bad debt. Okay. Every single one of them in continuously increasing those provisions, in some cases at record levels. Now, that doesn't mean they're not all making money. These banks all still make money, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just what their analysis is giving them.
But they know.
Yeah.
They know.
They could see the trend.
They can see that the consumer is not doing well, that the people who have credit cards and loans and mortgages, it's gradual, and we're not talking about any crisis here. I don't want everybody to start jumping off a cliff, okay? But they're all seeing this gradual, lousy results. So they have to set aside more and more money for those losses on loans. All of them. Like, this is not one freak bank. It's almost a universal thing. And by the way, this has been increasing constantly for the last year. So they know the economy's not doing so well. And the big six banks control 85% of all the transactions in this country, right? So they probably have a pretty good fucking idea.
Yeah.
And lousy GDP report. By the way, inflation has been pretty steady at not going up for the last 3 reports. So look, folks, the stage is set for a crappy Canadian economy. I mean, we just may wake up one morning and find out that everybody has agreed the recession is here. You know, just about, that's not today, but that's pretty fucking soon. And that means the rates have to come down. Like, the job of the Bank of Canada in increasing rates is to break the economy. Break the economy, and inflation gets crushed. Well, Tiff, mission fucking accomplished.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mission fucking accomplished. Okay.
It's sad because a lot of people are going to suffer from that.
They are suffering, and they'll suffer some more.
I bet some people are probably like, how the fuck can it get worse?
Yeah. Well,
brace yourselves.
Yeah, I mean, I hope not, but I don't know any other rational outcome but that things will get worse. And that's what guarantees the Bank of Canada will reduce
to come rates down. Yeah.
Simple as that.
It has to get worse to get better.
So what is that? What will that mean? Like, again, we're going to eventually switch from discussions, all of our thinking about not when will the cuts happen, or will cuts happen, or will there be another hike? Oh, that's all behind us now. It's cuts are going to come. How do we work with it? How do we understand it? From a mortgage perspective, how do we understand it? So it may be too early to really decide that we're going to jump in with variable. That may be a little early because none of us know this one key factor. When will the U.S. Federal Reserve start to cut? Nobody really knows. Their economy runs a little hotter than ours.
Yeah.
Because they have deficit spending like we think we have deficit spending. They got a fucking deficit spending. They're throwing money out there like you never.
They're just
fuck me.
Printing it for funsies.
Well, they have also something that we don't have. They have the most powerful military on earth, and that costs money, particularly when you keep throwing ammunition at Ukraine and other places, right? So
funding a war ain't cheap.
Ain't cheap, and that means people got to get paid. Weapons got to get made. Oh, well, wait a second, Ron. Isn't that private enterprise? Sort of, but who buys the weapons? Like, you don't buy a tank, right?
Yeah,
like, you don't go, there's no Walmart for tanks,
Yeah.
okay? Like, and even though it's pretty easy to buy automatic weapons in the United States, you can't actually buy a grenade launcher legally.
No,
you can't buy, the fighter jets are not for sale, okay?
Yeah.
Somebody's got to buy them, and who's got to buy them is the fucking government. Okay?
Yeah.
The government buys them. So there's some deficit. If you're going to build more of them, the customer's the government. The customer's the taxpayer. So, I mean, that's just the way it works. So, we don't do that here. We do not. Okay.
Yeah.
We don't. We're not. There's no tanks or us in Canada. So that's we're not in that business at all. All right. So, how do we react to this? And what do we think happens in mortgage rates, and how does that cascade down to real estate? Okay. So the first thing to understand is that the first cut's 25 basis points, 1/4%. Okay, that's the first cut. Goes from 5% to 4.75. So does that have a big impact on mortgages?
Maybe variable, but not really.
Not much. Okay,
Not really.
that's not really going to change anybody's outlook on life. Okay.
No.
The reality is, and so let's break it down. Who does that affect? Sure. Who is the most impacted by the news that we're going to have some cuts? Now, again, we really can't have more than 3 cuts until the U.S. jumps in. Once the U.S. jumps in, we can just follow them all the way down to wherever they end up. Okay, so we can follow them. We can go on our own. I know everybody's going to start. There's going to be like 800 comments. Hey, no, the Canadian dollar going to get killed. Okay, yeah, okay, quiet down, dude.
Yeah.
Quiet down, people. Okay, like, yeah, our dollar's going to take a little hit, but then once the U.S. starts to cut, but it means that we're limited. It means that until the Federal Reserve starts to cut, we can't just go 2%. That wasn't going to happen immediately anyway. But we'll see a 25 basis point cut. But the knowledge that cuts are coming, how are different players in the real estate game affected by that? Okay. First of all, there's the people who want to buy a house to live in. Let's call them the owner-occupied group. Okay. Yeah, they'll be encouraged. Once they know the cuts are coming, there'll be a bit of movement in fixed rates. People will start to think about variable, but like 1/4%,
They're going to sit back.
A few of them will jump, but I think by the second cut, we will see
a lot more takers.
Whatever group, whoever has decided that they will make a move when the cuts happen, for the second cut, they'll make a move. They'll be, if they were planning on just waiting to see the cuts and then buying, I think that group, it's a very specific group of people. I don't know the numbers of those people, but they will say, yeah, it's second cut, let's go. Okay. So there will be some uptick in the action for those people. But that's just one group in the real estate world. Okay. The other group is people who buy rental properties. Okay. I don't think they'll do fuck all. Okay. I don't think 0.5% or even 0.75% suddenly makes these high prices in major cities work.
Yeah.
Okay. I was talking to a realtor in Calgary the other day. He said, dude, I know you keep talking about things being fine in Calgary, but what I got to tell you is this. The prices on new stuff in Calgary, the prices on brand new homes in Calgary has reached the point that it's becoming harder for those rental numbers to work. Like if you buy a couple of units, even if you buy condo units in Calgary, they say, yeah, it's cheaper than Toronto, but it's getting harder for those rental numbers to work. It's
Right.
It's not like just all sunshine and unicorns like it was a year ago. Okay. It's because investment in rentals is math, right?
Right.
You gotta have enough rent to make a profit, or it doesn't work. And 0.5% is probably not going to change the world for anybody. So we will continue to see, I believe, until there's a ton of cuts, and maybe not even then, but certainly not initially, and probably not this year, will 0.5% suddenly bring the investment market back to life.
Where do you think the Bank of Canada rate has to be in order for people to start jumping into investments again?
That's going to be regional. because it's possible that for dog crate condos in Toronto, it may not even if it's 2%, it might not make a difference. Okay, because their prices are just too high. So that you might actually need a major price restructuring to get to the point where buying investment condos becomes a really good idea again. Okay, like it could be a major price restructuring before it gets to that point. But like, when will it look at when it hits the 2% mark? When it goes from 5 to 3, you're going to see more potential for people to invest in real estate again. Okay, because basically that market is dead as a fucking doornail right now.
Yeah, right now I'm so sorry for realtors.
Yeah, it's dead. So the next grouping, so that's investment. That investment may need the whole 2% for investors to come swooping back into the market. And I don't know when that 2% could be 18 months. I don't know. I got no clue.
Yeah.
So it's a function, because that's a function of just how quickly the economy gets worse.
Yeah.
It's how quickly those rates fall. When does the Fed jump in and start cutting? So many more possibilities there. Like I said, the decision about rate cuts is made. They're happening, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's July, September, it's just going to happen. But the decision about how far, how fast, that's got to evolve. So we'll see. Now there's another group in real estate, which is the developers, which are the people who build homes and build condo towers. Okay. I think they need the whole 2%, to be honest with you. Yeah. So that market could languish. Like, that market could be no new starts, no new projects beginning. That could go for another 18 months. It's not impossible. Okay. So yeah, it could be tough. It could be a tough market for anything to do with the investment side of the business. It's always easier for people who are buying a home to live in to jump first, because it's just that one house. It's just that one. And there's the math is I need a place to live too. Yeah. The math is I'm replacing my rent with a mortgage payment. Right? Yeah, exactly. So it's a different formula. So they can always go first. So what's a rate strategy? People are going to immediately, when the first cut happens, people are going to say, what's the right rate strategy? Okay. What should I think about now? I was leaning toward 3-year fixed. Has that changed? Okay. It's probably still too soon to say variable, but maybe by the second cut, we will be talking about variable again. That's possible. I know there's going to be like 30 comments about, no, you're stupid. The prime rate will go right back up again next year. You'll see, you fat bastard. Okay, whatever, dudes. But I mean, like, I think that we can make rational financial decisions once we see that the cycle is fully engaged. But what we're probably going to end up talking about in terms of rates, we're going to be talking more 1- and 2-year rates in the fall. I think we're going to be discussing that a lot in the fall, whether that's the right approach, a 1 or a 2 year, because you're going to be able to see exactly what's going on in the economy. Yeah, it's going to be obvious. So 1- and 2-year rates don't make a lot of sense today, but in the face of rate cuts, short-term rates drop the fastest. So we may see some changes there. Hopefully. To make it, if you could get a 2-year fixed for 4.90, you might think about it, right? Yeah. Because you've only got exposure to that. If you think the rates are going down, if you could get a 1 year for 5.29, you might think about it, right? Just only 1 year, and then boom, I'm going to be into a much lower rate. So it's going to take it baby steps, but I think that's what we're going to be looking at pretty soon. Once that second cut happens, we're going to be talking about that a lot. Okay. Okay, we got the viewer mail. We got listener mail. Yes, this one says, my ex-husband, we have a kid, so we still talk. That's nice, right? We love co-parents. You don't want to be like, I do know some exes that are bitter fucking enemies, right? Yeah. We know that. Is going through an insane experience. He bought a small condo. The broker said he was approved with a bank for 2 months. It's a week before closing, and now the broker says it's private. Well, I sort of understand it. And we're going to talk about this in a minute. About sort of FSRA's the provincial regulator in Ontario, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see more action out of the provincial regulators in British Columbia and other provinces too, but definitely Ontario. That could really only rationally be that situation, which, by the way, is not the first time I've heard that. Okay, I think you've probably heard about it too once in a couple of calls, right?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden there's a mortgage emergency, coming into the last week before the actual sign up and get the mortgage, close the house, get your keys. That's always the key. The key date is when you get the house, folks.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots in between, but the date that you get the keys and you move in, that's
your home.
That's the key one. So what happened? Well, there's two possibilities. Totally incompetent broker, totally incompetent mortgage agent. You don't see this as much with the bank reps because the bank reps don't have any option. They could only have one. If you're dealing with a TD rep or a Royal Bank rep or a CIBC rep who says that's all they do, their business card says their emails have CIBC on the bottom, they can't go anywhere else. So they're not trapping. They will tell you, no, you don't qualify, or no, you can't buy this much house, or no, this doesn't work, whatever, right? So this is probably a broker. I think it said broker. And unfortunately, two equally awful things. Pure fucking stupid incompetence on the broker's part. Like he thought he could find a bank, and then he gets all the documents in, and he was probably wrong. Notice I keep saying he. Because to be honest with you, I'll tell you something funny, Chan. Women brokers tend to be much more honest than some of the men. Like we rarely see apart from Claire Drage, who fucked people out of $200 million, that we rarely see women brokers actively engaged in mortgage fraud. Like we rarely see it.
It's a male dominant industry. So women walked in and we said we're going to make it better.
I think that that's changing. I think that
it has for sure.
Changing. Okay.
It definitely has.
Yeah.
Which I think it's good. The women brokers are making a really good name for us.
Yeah, I think that and certainly there's more than ever before, and that probably the some of the big influx of new brokers and mortgage agents and mortgage brokers are women. I'm like I say, people say, "Oh, you're just virtue signaling, you fucker." Okay, yeah, you want to say the women are better than men. You fucking kiss it up to women. Okay,
no.
Listen, I mean,
we're here for the equality, though.
Well, I just observe. Okay, I observe. When I observe brokers who are doing fucking evil, like I catch them, like I look at a file and I think, "What the fuck happened here?" Yeah, they were much more often men than women. I mean, let's just call it out. Okay, That's what I see. When we look at some of the worst behavior, I mean,
Ponytail Steve,
all that, yes, ma'am, all that. No, I'm just calling what I see. Okay, less evil doings from the women in the mortgage business. So, what happened here? Mortgage broker is just completely incompetent is possibility number one. That they saw that, okay, I thought I could get it done with this bank and I can't, so now I'm going to go to this bank. Ooh, fuck, they're not doing it either. Oh, I'm going to... Not telling the client about the problems. Not telling the client that there's an issue. And just going from lender to lender to lender with your fingers crossed and hoping for the best, okay? And then in the end... You're fucked. There's nobody. You tried everybody.
If they just would have done it from the beginning and just looked at the numbers, they would have realized they didn't qualify to begin with.
Well, or just been more meticulous. Like just really understand your business well so that when you look at income document verification, you can be absolutely sure you've got it right.
Yeah.
And look for all the signs that something could go wrong and be very, very knowledgeable about how because income verification is the key to successful mortgaging. Okay, that's just how it works. So there's another possibility too. The worst possibility that what we call a trap was set. A trap. Like you look, the people have a big down payment. Oh, look, they got 25, 30% down. Okay. Well, we know there's a private company who will do this, and I could maybe charge a huge fat fucking fee, okay? Like, I can charge a fee that's fucking bigger than Ron's gut, okay? Like, honestly, I think I can make 10 grand off these poor fuckers, okay? Now, I know that's disgusting. Like, that whole concept is just should disgust people. And the idea that it even exists in our industry is just is awful, fucking awful. But I'm not going to pretend I haven't seen it.
It happens.
I've seen it very seldom. Let's make it clear. It's rare. But I have fucking seen it, okay? And that could be a reason for that poor person's situation. Okay.
Yeah.
Because they know they've got enough down payment that they can close with a private lender. So they're going to wait till it's last minute where the person, if a person goes to a bank and says, hey, can you help me? I have to close in 3 days. Bank normally says, no, I can't. And what's going on and what went wrong? And the bank's like on super high alert. And
it's a lot of red flags.
Oh, but maybe not the fault at all of the borrower.
Yeah.
Not the fault at all of the buyer.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but yeah, I have seen that. It does exist, and it's awful. Simple as that. Do another question.
Yeah. This one says, shouldn't the renewal rate offers from banks be the best offer? They know us best. Perfect payments. Why wouldn't rates offered for why wouldn't rates offers for new purchases be slightly higher so renewing mortgages offers could be better?
So I guess the idea here is that, the people who are renewing that, you've proven yourselves, that you've had perfect payments, the mortgage has been paid down. So the mortgage is smaller now. Okay. And that you're an absolute, if you've been paying for 3 or 5 years, you're absolutely a proven commodity, and that the bank would want to offer you the best possible deal. Okay. Okay, I get that. And I also get that every new purchase, no matter how well underwritten, no matter how carefully they look at the documents, it's still a bit of a crapshoot, right? I mean, you don't have a track record with that bank, with that mortgage, owning a home yet. This might be your first home. You've never had to pay all the extra utility bills before. You've never had to... maybe you got to go out and buy a lawnmower that you hadn't budgeted for, do all this stuff.
Suddenly have to buy one of everything.
Yeah, or maybe you didn't really understand that the sons of bitches at the condo could raise the fucking monthly fees like every fucking year. Okay. Yeah. There's that. So that you're an unknown quantity instead of a known quantity. And maybe banks should offer a little worse rate, a little higher rate to the brand new purchasers, and always give the very lowest rate to the renewing people who have a smaller mortgage, typically more equity, and typically very well understood customers. Okay, and loyal, been with the bank, they're customers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but unfortunately in business, that's not the way it works. So I'll tell you why. It's very important for banks and all lenders, all mortgage lenders, to bring on new business because houses get sold, right? And the mortgage gets paid out, so you don't have a mortgage anymore. People actually pay off their mortgage. So that's paid off now. You're not getting any more interest on that one that's paid off, okay? So if you're a bank, you know that there's a natural depletion of mortgages on your book. It's going to absolutely happen. So if you don't fill the front of the tank up with new mortgages, your portfolio or your book of business is going to shrink for sure. So the new mortgage becomes vital to the bank. Okay. Also, the new mortgage is always the biggest mortgage, right?
Of course.
It's the biggest because you make payments, the principal makes the mortgage smaller. It's also a chance for the bank to sell you other stuff, right? When you get a mortgage from a bank, in almost all cases today, they ask you to open a checking account with that bank. This is a growing phenomenon in our business.
Yeah.
They want you to open a checking account, which, okay, you got the best rate, so I guess I will. Is it free checking? It better be free checking if you're asking me to open it. Yes, it's free checking. Good. And they can also then, the bank with your new house, they can bombard you with other shit to do. Like, you should get a free like a low interest credit card from us. You may be more interested in a personal line of credit. Hey, how about you invest your RSPs with us? Because guess what? They got your email. They can just keep on. They just keep on sending you text. Hey, great news. We have a special on, the bank has got you.
Yeah.
They can go after you forever now. Okay.
Then suddenly you have one of everything.
And you're a new customer, and that's banks are in the new customer acquisition business, right?
Yeah.
So those are the reasons why, even though the renewing borrower is conceivably the safer borrower who feels they're entitled to a great rate, from the bank's business perspective, the bank wants new customers.
They're
period.
already a customer.
Yeah, you're already a customer. We tried to get you to take RSPs 20 times. You didn't say yes. So, And finally, the bank would like to make you an offer at renewal that is not the lowest rate. Because if you just sign and say yes because you're busy or because it didn't seem like much of a difference or whatever the case may be, like, let's face it, for almost 7 years, people got rates that were lower on renewal, right? Like if you got a renewal offer in 2021, it was always lower than your previous offer, right?
Yeah.
So you just say, oh shit, it's gone down. Fucking great. Let's sign now. Okay. So, and it might not have been the best offer. If you'd have shopped in 2021, you might even have got a better offer, but you didn't feel that motivated because it wasn't a big increase.
It was convenient.
It was convenient and it was down, right? When your payments go down, you're always feeling, yeah, this is great. So the reality of life is that's the reason. The bank would like to try to make a little bit more money off the renewing customer. That's just the way it goes. Okay. It's a good question. That's how it works. All right. I mentioned that FSRA is the regulator of mortgage brokers and a bunch of other stuff in the province of Ontario. And they put out an interesting presentation just last week. Good presentation. They talked about things that mortgage brokers need to think about harder. Because, we've had all these scandals, right? We've had some scandals in Ontario.
This has been quite a year.
Yeah, it's been a bad year.
Yeah, I think it's the perfect time to have started a podcast, though. Because you were able to really relay the news to everyone.
We could have renamed it Scandal Mortgage instead of Angry Mortgage. Okay, like it's a lot of fucking scandals. A lot of people, and sad to say, some people got their money swiped, okay, and all bad shit happened. A lot of bad shit happens. People got... So the regulator, and, the regulator in Ontario is serious. They are serious about having a better mortgage brokerage industry. They're serious about consumer protection. They're serious about improving broker behavior. That's just the truth. They are more serious. They are serious, and they're growing more serious. The interesting part about the presentation they put on, the webinar they put on last week, is that they spent a lot of time talking about the fact that the words honesty and integrity were right in the fucking act. Right in the Mortgage Act. Right in the Mortgage Brokers Act. Okay. It's right there. Section 10. Read it. Right there. This is the behavior we expect of you. And they made another important point. They said, wait a second. This is the behavior not just we expect of everybody. We expect it of the owners of the brokerages, because in some cases the owners of the brokerages are not the principal brokers. Okay, sometimes large companies own brokerages, and they may have hired someone to be the principal broker to, enforce compliance and do supervision. So they made a point of saying, "Hey, everybody, wake up! It's not just agents we're expecting to be honest and have integrity. It's not just the principal broker we expect to have integrity. If you own shares in a brokerage, we absolutely goddamn expect you to behave towards the public with honesty and integrity." Okay. Now let's face it, that's a pretty broad definition, right?
Yeah.
That's not like the regulator wasn't emphasizing here, just fill out the forms right. That's not what they were talking about. They were not talking about that. They were talking about do the right thing by the customer, suitable mortgages, complete honesty, full disclosure, act in a stand-up way with every customer.
Yeah.
And we're going to fucking audit you for it. Like, we're going to fucking take it, and we are going to look at, like, they've done, there's 28 tiny brokerages behind in their reporting. They just shut them. They just seized their licenses, threw them away. We talked about the principal broker in Hamilton, sorry, in London, who there was a big finding against that person, Bill Hanson, and he's no longer the principal broker. His name has disappeared from being the principal broker of that brokerage, and there's a new woman unrelated to him who is now the principal broker. So looks like that got fucking solved pretty quick. Okay. Yeah. Look, they are serious. The regulator is serious about better behavior, but more to the point, don't do evil. Like, just don't fucking do evil. Don't do it.
The market's already so fucked up. It starts with our industry, making sure that shits get done right.
Sure. And, I'm hoping, and I believe that we'll see, I'm confident we'll see some more, honesty and integrity in the real estate side of our business too, the real estate side of buying houses too. But I'm letting everybody, for all you mortgage brokers who are listening, the regulator is serious. So if you've been up to no good, start planning a new career. Okay. Like, just make a change. I mean, it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
But the will is there. So if you're not operating with honesty and integrity, I think you better realize they're going to find you eventually.
They're on the hunt. Just look at how many scandals have happened in the past few months.
Yeah. They're not fooling around. They're not getting pushed around. Nope. Okay. Like, I guarantee you that there's going to be some more.
Yeah.
There's going to be some more. And by the way, the lenders are getting serious too. Lenders are getting much more serious about it for a very good reason. They're not necessarily all banks, but God knows the banks have got to get more serious because the government's fining them. They're giving fines and saying, hey, you got to be really fucking serious about compliance and really fucking serious about money laundering, and be serious about the work you're doing. We're seeing that. So they're getting more serious about bullshit from mortgage brokers. Other the lenders are. I know lenders who are cheerfully cutting off brokerages right now. Okay. If they find a series of bad files, cut off agents, cut off teams, cut off brokerages, because, hey, how the person had a wonderful comment who I talked to about it. She said, we are not going to compete with fraud for business. Like, we're not gonna say, hey, are you more lenient toward fraud? Because then I'll give you a lot of business. She says, we are not competing with fraud to bring in mortgage volume. End of story. Okay. Yeah. If that means it costs us $1 billion of origination, we'll just budget for it, account for it, and live with it. Okay. Days are done. Okay. Of bullshit. Yeah. Okay. God bless them. Which takes us to our favorite part of the program.
What the actual fuck?
Yeah. Like, I just got to say it out loud. Like, what the actual fuck is going on with silly fucking government commentary? Like, senior fucking people in government saying stupid fucking shit. This week, I guess last week we had a minister of the government stand up in the House of Parliament in Ottawa and say, hey, you should love the carbon tax. We need the carbon tax on gas because we don't want anybody driving across Canada, having no bathroom breaks for 10 hours a day, driving. They're burning the planet down. These road trips got to end. Like, are you out of your fucking mind? Whatever fucking idiot minister that was. Like, sweet fucking Jesus, you're telling Canadians not to see Canada? Not to get in their cars, go camping, go take a road trip.
Enjoy the 4 little weeks of summer, or 8 little weeks of summer that we
get
have.
In Canada? Yeah, the only time we have decent weather, you want to say, don't get in your car. You should shut up about the carbon tax. Don't get in your car. Don't burn that gas. You're burning the planet down. Canadians don't want to burn the planet down. Well, you fucking idiot. We don't want to burn the planet down, okay? But
I mean,
we want to see Canada.
Yeah, a bunch of Canadians going on a road trip is not going to do the same damage as our minister was going around doing his photo op across Canada.
No fucking shit.
It's not the same amount of fuel.
They're flying on the fucking government jet, for fuck's sake. So
private, exactly.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, and then the most possibly silliest thing of all, we had a minister promoting, I think there's a day for menstruation. Okay. I know that's crazy, right? But I think there is. Okay.
Okay.
But listen, it's a good thing. No stigma. Get rid of all the stigma.
For sure.
And what you mentioned something to me the other day about free product, right?
Yeah, I don't need a fucking holiday. I need free products.
Free product. But the craziest fucking thing came out of this minister. This minister said the craziest thing. She said, we need to support those people who experience menstruation. Why don't you say women, you crazy minister, okay? Like, don't go.
Inclusivity.
Yeah, like, for fuck's sakes. I mean, like, it's fucking nuts, all right? Just say women, okay? Support women. Support women with low cost or subsidize the cost of fucking
menstrual products.
Menstrual products.
Yeah.
Like, do something fucking positive. Don't have a fucking day you're going to do a fucking photo op, like you said, fly around the country, do a photo op talking about period experiencing people. They're not people. They're women, you crazy fucking person. Okay.
Promise you, every single person who's experienced a menstrual cycle would not choose to do it.
No, it's not choose. It's not. I want to seek it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, for fuck's sake.
I promise you, it's not something you'd want to choose.
Yeah, no one's seeking it out. Okay. Like, and so they're not people. They're women, for the love of God.
Who don't need a holiday, but we need free products.
Free product. But they don't need a special day, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Don't cut the celebration and provide free product.
I don't want a wristband.
Yeah, no wristbands. No wristbands with white stones and red stones.
No merch. Nothing.
Fuck that, okay?
Free products.
And stop talking about menstruating people. They're women, for the love of God, okay? All right. See you next week.
If you like the pod, well, don't just sit there. Go to YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and all the other ones and like the pod. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep being angry at mortgages and swearing about mortgages. Angry Mortgage could use your support.